Welcome to the Divine Play podcast, a practical guide to living with joy. My name is Mirlena Lee, and I am here with my fantastic and beautiful co-host,
Shannon Morrison.
Yeah, and today we are going to talk about another practical and pragmatic way to find your way to joy. And that is actually to slow your roll, to slow the F down is what we're talking about today. Because I
What?
don't know about you, but I tend to feel like I'm running around with my hair on fire very often. And
Mhm.
as much as it is doing things that I love, it also makes me feel like a crazy person. Can you relate to that one at all?
Oh my gosh, I think our audience all can relate. Everybody's probably raising their hands right now.
This is not a unique thing.
Mm-mm.
The crazy pace of our modern culture is not conducive to slowing down. I really wish it was.
Mhm.
And it seems to be really tough, whether it's kids and family or career and vocation or even doing fun things. It's almost like we don't have time to breathe.
Absolutely. I watched my parents just the other day, the trials and the stress of getting ready to go on vacation. They're leaving for like 18 days and they're like, I am exhausted because you're trying to do everything for your work, everything for your household, and then plan somebody else to take care of your household while you're gone. It's a big deal. I think it comes in everything we do. I think the constant battle or that mind connection to the 75 plates we hold every single day is just kind of a challenge to put down and hold space for. So I'm so
Yeah,
excited to have this conversation.
there's a lot of plates spinning all the time.
Mhm.
And, in my own, even today, today is my day off, which
Mhm.
of course I'm recording a podcast. Like, what
Mhm.
the? Okay, I feel attacked by myself, by this topic. I feel attacked by this
I feel
topic.
attacked
Um,
by this talk. That's
yeah, and
funny.
I picked
Oh my
it.
gosh.
I picked
Mhm.
it, and I am literally recording a podcast on my day off. However, this is also like somewhat fun for me, and that's how I
Mhm.
justify pretty much everything I add to my schedule, right? Is that it's something that
Mhm.
I really want to do. I really want to do it. And literally almost every week I go, how the did I get here again? Like, what? How do I have zero downtime? And even though it's things that I love to do, I'm finding like, as I get older, this breakneck pace for me
Mhm.
is it just wears me out. And
Mhm.
I think that even my younger self did not love this breakneck pace. But my younger self came up in the era where there was less grabbing my attention. It was before social media, it was before the
Google wasn't even
smartphone.
I didn't have Google, which is
Yeah.
I'm
And
aging myself right now.
Yeah, and so for me, when I was in my early 20s and late teens, like I read all the time because I didn't have a smartphone like stealing my attention.
Mhm.
So I feel like it
Mhm.
might be a little bit different for people in their 20s now, but I feel like they probably feel exactly the same way that we do, that like they never have
Mhm.
time to do anything and that they're constantly running around. So, you know, uh, I found it difficult not
Mhm.
to look at my phone and answer emails and schedule things and call people back and respond to messages on Facebook in regards to my practice, my business, and events. And I'm curious if that's something that you run into as well. And how do you personally find your way out of that?
That's a really great question. And I resonate so much because I had blocked out a session today and I rescheduled it because I it's so interesting that we're having this conversation today because Tuesday is also normally my day off. I am actually working today, but Tuesday is actually my day in my office, which means like I am doing all my things, like all my meetings, all my things. It's in my office. We're doing all things my resilient wellness. And I do it back to back. And then by like I'm on Zoom from like 9 a.m. or before until 9 p.m.
Whoa.
And I was like, oh, like for I've been doing this. And last week I was like, oh my gosh, like I am so exhausted. I could barely like hold space to like finish all the tasks, like, download all of the YouTube videos, blah, 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 upload them to where they need to go. And I was like, what are you doing to yourself, Shannon? Like, what are you actually freaking doing? because this is supposed to be fun and it wasn't fun anymore. And so, yes, I resonate, Marilena, totally resonate because I did take out a 2-hour appointment today. I just like took it out because
I am
I
trying
didn't
to
have the bandwidth.
I am trying to pick my jaw up off the floor. Like that
If you're not on
9
video, she's
a.m.
like,
to
yes,
9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
routinely every Tuesday.
Holy hell, that's a whole bunch of That makes my neck hurt just thinking about it. Like my body hurts just thinking about it. My God. So
So
I'm
please,
curious.
let's talk about this. Okay, how do
Let's
I, yeah. So that was the first thing I did today for myself. I felt really guilty because like let me like say right in the comments, do you feel guilty if you shrink your schedule or tell somebody no? Like this is a big deal. It was years before I told one of my bosses, no, I can't do that. There's no way I can do all of that traveling in one day and get to be here at this time. I just physically can't do it. And she gave me like a high five and said, thank you. Good job. And I was like, I felt so guilty about saying no because I'm like, I'm not a no, I'm a yes. I'm sure I totally can do that. Absolutely. I got you. I got your back. I totally can cover you. And it was like such an eye opening. And I feel like the more you do that, you're saying yes to yourself, but still, it's a people pleasing situation. I feel like I keep
yeah.
adding things to it. But so like the question was, how do I fix this? How do I slow down? It's a practice of blocking out time. I block out lunch. Every Thursday, I block out 2 hours to basically do nothing besides I might read, I might meditate, I might go out and ground, I might just sit in the sunshine, I might just do things that fill my soul. I block out 2 hours in the afternoon because it gets to be freeing and no one can schedule during that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once a week, I do something for self care, which I never did. And that's really like so many people say, I don't have time for that. Well, like, what's going to be more expensive or more time consuming? Taking your self care of yourself right this second, right now, this week, planning an hour appointment for a massage or an hour sauna or a 30-minute something or health challenge that's going to take a lot more time and a lot more space and a lot more money. And so I was resonating and realizing how much time I was spending in front of Zoom and doing all the things that I really have actively added at least one self-care. Like I used to get 30-minute massages. I'm now to an hour and a half. 30 minutes is not good enough, right?
I'm giving
Exactly.
jazz hands because I'm a body worker and a massage therapist.
Yeah.
And who the wants a 60-minute massage? Nobody. And taking it even further, who wants a 30-minute massage, Shannon? No.
No.
Some,
I'm like,
some is better than
it takes
none.
us an hour to get in there.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, a 30-minute massage is like, I'm going to get a really nice, warm, feel good, and I'm going to calm my mind for 30 minutes, but like literally don't talk. Like Shannon, just don't talk. It's really hard for me not to talk to my massage therapist. We joke and we laugh. I, try to get some shit off of my, energy off of me before I go in there. And I always bring oils because I'm like, this is going to help both of us. Sorry, it's been a day,
Mhm.
right? So I
Yeah.
choose oils for me and for her. It's just what I do. And she's just like, okay. I'm like, and self-care before and after. Like, I don't know about you, but and you probably talk about this to your clients too, is there gets to be a proactive and an after care. How is this going to affect me? I have learned that it is so much easier on my body and my brain if I meditate, if for like 4 days before I drink a ton of lemon water and take some things internally, like my oils internally. And then right after, I take a detox bath. I've never done that. And that has been like the savior. The first time I did one, because it's been a year. It had been a year since I had a massage.
Whoa.
And I pre-warned her and I was like, it is like a big deal for me to have a massage. And I haven't had one in a year because I haven't been able to find a person. And so I was like, I couldn't even put a t-shirt on without my back hurting. That's how bad my back was. Like it was just like yelling at her the whole time. And she finally gave up. And so round two, I'm like, we're gonna take care of this a little bit better. Cause I just went in like a hot mess. I'm like, oh, it's fine. I'm just gonna go No. So I feel like we get to really proactively take care of ourselves and understand that there's going to be a lot of self-care in it. Again, I think we're going to go to acceptance and being like, it's okay to stop for like an hour. It's okay to set a timer. It's okay to block out 2 hours in your week. It's okay. What if it's 15 minutes a day? That's absolutely
Yeah.
fine too. Whatever you need to do, but it is a challenge. I think it's a practice. It shouldn't even be a challenge. But I am such a person, I'm like, yeah, I can totally fit it in. And I know you are too. I know you are too. Because I love humans. I love helping humans. I like being with people. People will be like, hey, Shannon, do you have time for a aroma touch? Absolutely. I'll squeeze you in. Shannon, it's Saturday afternoon. Can you do a gem? It's really
Yeah.
important. However, we get to think about what we have before and what we have after if we really have the bandwidth for it. And that's my take on that question. What do you think? How
Yeah.
do you feel?
So for me, I think there's a couple things here that are really important. The ability to say no, not just to our
Mm,
bosses, right? Which in our case, our
hmm.
bosses are ourselves, but not just to our bosses, but also to our friends and our family. The ability to say no is something that took me quite a bit of time to be able to do. Like right now, there's some big stuff happening in my family that everybody's trying to come together and do, but it like wasn't planned out very well, and I wasn't given a whole lot of notice. And then it was like, hey, we need all hands on deck. And I'm like, yeah, no, I have a full work schedule. And, going over and assisting with this particular project, there was a lot of dust and particulates involved. And it literally, I went over and helped one day and it made me sick. And I have an event coming up on Saturday where I'm
Hmm.
facilitating breath work. And, a big part of that is singing through the
Hmm.
process. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't come back up and help again because in a week I have to be singing and I cannot have that kind of impact on my health. So, I just respectfully declined and said, I'm so sorry, I can't
Hmm.
help with this right now. And it's one of those things where that used to feel really almost like death for me because
Absolutely.
I was what we call a rescuer in victim consciousness work,
Mhm,
right? And rescuers are people who that archetype is associated with feeling like our worth comes from what we do for other people. And
mhm.
that, if we let other people down, we're pretty much unlovable, right? And so it took
Yep.
me a long time to get through this. And I've done that, with the tools of neurolinguistic programming and HUNA and, walking the medicine wheel. These are all things that I am so grateful to have the ability to
Mhm,
walk people through now. But it's because it literally changed my life. It helped me to understand the unconscious programming that drove that inability to say no. And so for me, that ability to say no, there's a really simple tool that is so helpful for this with me. When I have trouble with something, when I'm triggered by something, when I have difficulty with something, I remember that it's always a mirror, right? It is a reflection of something that I have yet to accept, love, and forgive within myself. And when I am able to do that in myself, I can do it within other people. And here's the flip side to that. When I can accept and forgive it in myself, I can forgive other people. But I can also forgive myself through forgiving other people and giving them the space. So here is my practical tool for saying no and not feeling guilty about it. Instead of coming up against my ego that's like, oh no, you can't say no. Oh, I feel so guilty because that ego is strong. One of the
mhm,
things that I've really worked on doing is when people say no to me, especially if I feel a little triggered by it, if I feel a little like left out, if I feel a little let down or whatever it is, or disappointed, is I take a moment, I breathe, and I look at them and I say, thank you for taking care of yourself.
mhm.
Thank you for taking care of yourself by saying that you can't come. I'm really grateful that you're going to keep this time for yourself. Don't feel any pressure. And what this does is it gives them permission to say no and do what's best for them. And this practice of giving other people permission has helped me to give permission to myself. So it
Oh, for
becomes this
sure.
kind of infinite feedback loop of giving everyone permission to take care of themselves, even me. And so that's been really practical for me. All right. Well, this conversation about slowing down and slowing your roll took a little longer than planned, which I think is totally appropriate. So, we will be
Absolutely.
continuing this conversation in part two. So, join us next week to hear part two of this conversation. We'll see you then. Toodles.
See you next week.